Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today's the big day. We're talking about the 2023 Cfmoto Ibex 800. This is a new motorcycle from Cfmoto for this model year here in the USA. I've been waiting to get my hands on one, and today's our day of reckoning. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you, the viewer, whether or not this motorcycle right here is going to end up being a good buy or something that you should look at and maybe even say goodbye. Before we get going, don't forget it is the springtime RevZilla gift card giveaway. You have a chance to win 25 bucks to RevZilla. All you have to do is leave a comment that says springtime RevZilla gift card giveaway on my channel and subscribe as well. So let's talk about some specs. Let's talk through some features. I'll get you an exhaust clip and then we'll get on a test ride. Let's get into it. So we're going to start at the very forefront of the motorcycle with the brakes. The Ibex 800 runs a 320 millimeter twin disc setup. The brakes are provided by J. Juan and they are radially mounted. We also have KYB inverted suspension up front. I believe this is a 43 millimeter setup, and it has a ton of adjustability. Not only can you adjust your preload, but also your compression and your rebound. Lighting up at the front is all LED, including the driving lights, headlight, and accent light, and that's also complemented out back as well with an LED tail light, and your turn signals are also LED. This is a small feature, wasn't listed on the website as far as I could find. They include these little crash bars that protrude from the bodywork. I think this is such a smart idea because they're saying to their customer, we're not going to make you buy the accessories, we're just going to give you it all in one package. And that's their whole thing, right? Ride without compromise. Thank you, Cfmoto. Some of you may recognize this engine or already know what this engine is. This is KTM's LC8 parallel twin. It's a liquid-cooled, dual overhead cam, fuel-injected, parallel twin engine with a 270-degree crank. While it doesn't put out the same numbers as it did in the KTM models, it's still a pretty respectable 94 horsepower at 9,000 RPM and 56.8 pound-feet of torque. And all of that power that you have on tap can be sent through the 6-speed gearbox that Cfmoto provides for this motorcycle. That transmission does feature Cfmoto slipper clutch. To really kind of top this transmission off, Cfmoto has actually included a bi-directional quick shifter. I think that's kind of nutty for an adventure bike, but hey, what the hell? Why not? Ride without compromise. And then in the rear, to kind of finish things off for the standard specs, you do have a 260 millimeter disc out here with a 2-piston J. Juan caliper. And out back for suspension, we have a singular monoshock mounted in the middle of the frame. This has both preload and rebound adjustability. This bike weighs in at 509 pounds wet and ready to ride, and it has a 32.5-inch seat height. For reference, I'm 6'1", and this is how I fit on the motorcycle. My feet are flat on the ground, but this is about as tall of a seat height as I can get before I start ending up on the balls of my feet. So, if you're about 5'8" and up, you could probably get your feet on the ground with this, but any shorter than that, you're gonna struggle. I'm not being a pessimist, I'm just being a realist. Sorry if I crushed your dreams. Oh, and also, before I get off of this, yeah, it's 510 pounds. That might sound kind of heavy, but it's not as heavy as Yo Mama! Okay, now I'd like to do a little bit of a walk around and go over some of the standard features that this bike gets that I feel should be highlighted. First up, of course, I've already talked about it, but these little crash bars here are such a nice add-on, and they don't interfere with the body lines too much. They look like they belong there, but they also provide a sense of protection for the motorcycle. The LED fog lights, the signature light, the headlights, the turn signals, all being LED means that this thing has incredible visibility. And that's a bonus for you as a rider because more people are going to be able to see you, hopefully. This windscreen right here is fully adjustable. You just kind of turn these little dials, loosen them up, and then you can adjust that to your liking. Spark busters, handguards, whatever you want to call them, are often overlooked and underappreciated. Cfmoto has provided these for some wind protection, and if you're out on the trails, it's going to protect your hands from sticks, mud, water, all that good stuff. Cfmoto always kills it on the display, and to navigate through that menu, you use these buttons right over here. That brow accent light is just so hot. You've also got a 12-volt cigarette-style outlet, along with a dual USB port over on this side, so you can charge quite a bit of goodies over here and even hook up your heated jacket or anything like that if you want to plug in. You can see the seat actually has a very nice grippy texture to it. I assume that they know what you're doing with this motorcycle. You're probably not staying on the road all the time. It could get a little muddy, and they want you to be able to stay in the saddle with that. Plus, with that 32.5-inch seat height, it's going to make for a great companion out on the trails. A little bit of a luggage rack out back, And they already include the case holders for the side saddlebags if you wanted to add those. It does add about 30 pounds in overall weight to the machine. You've got a big gnarly brake lever over here so you can grip it even when the times start to get wet or muddy. And it comes with a center stand. This is so underappreciated. Any motorcycle that includes a center stand from the factory is pretty okay in my book. And then of course a skid plate. You know, what good is a dual sport ADV style motorcycle without a skid plate, right? You're going to be going over rocks. It's very nice that Cfmoto gives you that protection from the factory at no additional cost. ABS standard and cornering ABS standard on the brake system. And one thing that this bike does incredibly well, the tank looks big and bulky, but as it makes its way down, you can see it gets a little bit more narrow, and it's actually a pretty pleasant frame to swing your legs over. Whoa, 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 wait a minute. I promised you guys an exhaust clip, so I'm not going to forget to do that. Let's check it out. Hello everyone, welcome to the test ride portion of the video. I did have a sticky note right here with a couple of questions I was going to answer for you guys, but I will do my best to answer them off the top of my head from memory. The first thing I noticed right away is the incredibly ergonomically correct seating position. I'm super comfortable and I could pull a lot of time in this saddle. Also, at low speed, the bike is incredibly easy to maneuver and handle. Throttle response in rain mode is ideal for these low speed scenarios. Super confident, and makes it very easy to keep the bike in the friction zone to make those tight turns whenever you need to. We're going to start in rain mode. That's one question that somebody wanted answered was, has the throttle mapping been addressed for this motorcycle? In my opinion, I feel like the throttle is very smooth on this bike. Unlike most ride-by-wire systems where whenever you initially open the throttle, there's a little bit of lurchiness, twitchiness, and jumpiness in that initial 0 to 10% opening. In this, I don't really feel that. Even from a slow roll, opening it like this, there's not a lot of lurchiness there. And it feels pretty darn good. Another question was range. People were asking about the range on this big dog. This is a very large tank from the looks of it, but it is only 5 gallons. Based on what I'm seeing online, the KTM version of this motorcycle gets around 50 miles to the gallon. Now this one does have a little bit of extra weight, so I'm going to try to account for that in my calculations here. I'm going to say that this bike gets anywhere between 45 to 50 miles to the gallon, and with a 5-gallon tank, that puts you anywhere between 225 to 250 miles if you're running it all the way down to dead empty. Realistically, you're probably going to stop about 20 miles before that, so I would say a safe range for this motorcycle is 200 miles on one fill-up. No bike is without flaw. You know, no one's made the perfect motorcycle yet. This is a step in the right direction for Cfmoto, but a couple of things that I would like to see done a little bit better. The seat, while it is a comfortable position to be sitting in, the driver's saddle is a little soft, and I feel like over time it's just not a dense enough foam to hold up. Once it's broken in, it might get a little squishy, but you can always add more foam to your seat to fix that. Also, these bark busters up front are a little flimsy. I'd like to see those a little bit more rigid. They do their job, so I'm not going to knock it too hard, but again, they're just a little bit more flimsy than I would like for them to be, and I can see them moving ever so slightly in the wind as I'm driving the motorcycle. That rain mode throttle definitely smooths out the torque curve and makes it so it's not abrupt acceleration. The slipper clutch is doing an excellent job of making sure that my rear wheel does not experience any screeching. And the suspension, ride quality overall so far is very good on the street. These turns feel super confident with those nice adjustable forks up front. Yeah, you can definitely tell rain mode makes a very big difference in how fast the bike accelerates. So what we're going to do now is toggle through our menu, and we're actually going to switch it into sport mode. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, maybe consider hitting that like button, and it'd be really cool if you subscribe to the channel. Thanks. All right, quick comparison motorcycle to this. Obviously, people are going to look at the Tenere 700 because they are set up somewhat similarly. The T7, while it is about 50 pounds lighter, it does make about 20 less horsepower, so there's a bit of a trade-off there. Another person asked if this bike was going to be too heavy to take out on the trails. It definitely can do it. If you're a shorter rider, though, you will struggle, so just make sure that if you're looking at this as an option, You're going to be able to confidently get your feet on the ground. That way on the trails, if you get into a dicey scenario and you need to put your feet down, you've got a way out and a way to hold yourself up in case things go south. Another person asked if this was going to do decent on rough terrain. In my opinion, that's kind of up to you to decide, and also could be very heavily influenced by the motorcycle's adjustable suspension. If you're doing off-road, you probably want it to be a little bit softer so the suspension can articulate a little bit more, but that's going to kind of be based on your preference and what type of off-roading you're doing. If you're doing high-speed stuff, you want it a little bit stiffer for better steering response and not so much buck on the rear end so you're not feeling it in your spine. So I can't really answer that question 100%. So far though, this thing is super comfortable, and I love all the features that it has, and it's making me feel very confident as a rider on a bike that I've never ridden before. Now is the portion of the video where I'm going to do a 0 to 60 test. I'm going to do my best to get us from 0 to 60 as fast as possible. We do have a bit of a headwind today, but we should be able to still get a pretty accurate 0 to 60 time since we're going downhill. Okay, whenever you're doing 0 to 60 tests, I've learned that it's best to preload the chassis. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. 60. That quick shifter works pretty stinking well, I gotta say. And man, this bike moves out super well for all 500 pounds that it is. And now we're gonna set our cruise control. You guys know I love that feature. This is hands down one of my favorite things about modern motorcycles is cruise control. I like being able to get my hand off of that throttle and take a break, stretch my wrist out, and just kind of take it easy. What are you doing, homie? Alright, well, welcome to Tuesday. Another person was asking about being able to commute on this motorcycle on the highway. Is it powerful enough for 2-up riding and even being loaded down with all that luggage? Well, we're in 6th gear right now. I don't have any luggage, but let's just open it up and see what kind of speed we can get out of it and if it feels powerful enough. So we hit 100 miles per hour. We probably had a little bit more left to go there, probably top speed of about 115, 120. So my general consensus there is that this bike is certainly powerful enough to carry a passenger and some luggage. You're definitely going to be losing a little bit of acceleration capability, but will it maintain it and hold you there? Totally. The adjustable windscreen is one other thing that I want to talk about. I wish it was a little bit taller for a little bit more wind protection on the top of my head to eliminate some of the buffeting, but I'm sure there are options out there to make that taller or add even a little clip-on style screen. I've seen guys add those to some of their bikes. Seems to kind of clear up some of that issue, so that's an option for you. But I do like the adjustability factor of the windscreen from the factory. I think someone else also asked about reliability. I can't really answer that question for you. It depends on if you're going to take care of it and do all your maintenance or not. And even then, shit happens sometimes, so take that with a grain. Okay, can we get this thing to wheelie at all? Yes! Yes! Okay, so the bike does wheelie. Obviously, I'm not very good at it, but it does do it, so there's your answer. Just, you know, Cfmoto, guys, great work. The last note I want to make is that this bike is a little top heavy because all the weight's up so high, but once you're moving along, it's not that big of a deal, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the current ADV bikes suffer from that same thing because they try to keep it so narrow down here. I hope I answered all of your questions that you guys had about this motorcycle. Sorry if I missed a couple. I did lose my sticky note, but I still did my best. Let's kind of recap some of the very minor details that I didn't really care for on this motorcycle, and then we'll jump into the goodbye portion of the video. A little top heavy, a little bit wiggly bark busters. The windscreen could be a hair taller, and I think some of the inputs on the button controls could be done a little bit better. I don't like how long I have to hold this switch over here to toggle through some of the menu. I wish it was a little bit quicker. But aside from those couple of small minor issues, I think the pros far outweigh the cons. So let's get to that whole goodbye portion now. So if you're looking for an incredibly affordable adventure bike with some serious capability, amenities, features, and creature comforts, this is the bike for you. Even if you don't think you're looking for one of these bikes, I think you'd be very surprised at the other roles that it can fill around town, in the country, commuting, long haul. This is a great machine right here, and it's using a proven power plant that works from KTM. And here in the United States, this motorcycle comes with a 2-year warranty. So if you're leery on the reliability, just keep in mind, you've got that warranty to fall back on. So if you're looking for a middleweight motorcycle that's kind of the jack of all trades, but the master of none at the same time, and it still fills every role fairly well, I'd say for you, this is a good buy. And now for the people that might not want this motorcycle. I would have a really hard time stating a case against this motorcycle because it is so good at most things, like I just said. Really, the only reason that you wouldn't want something like this is if you wanted something just a hair lighter, and even then, this really isn't that heavy. And the competition is, you know, $3,000–4,000 higher for virtually the same thing with less features and less amenities. But if you're not willing to roll the dice on a brand like Cfmoto that you're not familiar with, which I encourage you to do a little bit more research into this company. They are the new kid on the block, but they're doing some cool stuff. But if it doesn't make you feel warm and fuzzy, I would say maybe don't take the leap for it. And if you're looking for like the king of ADV, you should probably be looking at the BMW and be forking over, you know, $20,000+ for a GS 1250. But if you want to spend half of that and get probably 3/4 of the bike, I'm standing here looking at it. But anyhow, you know, if any of those things that I just talked about apply to your situation at all, and you're not even really confident that you want to be considering this as an option, well, at that point, you can probably say it's a good buy. All right, let's get to the outro. Hey everybody, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Really appreciate all your support lately. The channel's got some awesome momentum going. I'm having a great time making these videos, so again, thank you. Don't forget, leave a comment that says springtime RevZilla gift card giveaway for your chance to win $25 to RevZilla.com. I'm not sponsored nor affiliated. I'm doing this out of my own pocket. And you can't win if you don't leave a comment or subscribe. So do those 2 simple things, you're in.
What did he say?
It sounded like urine. You guys know what I mean. Aside from that, super curious to know what you guys think of this motorcycle. Let me know in the comments below. Please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and ride safe.